Totally, yeah. And that leads right into my next question, actually, which is during tournaments, like, what is your warm-up strategy? Are you fencing to win? Or are you fencing to warm up your favorite actions?
For the warm-up phase, yeah, for me in the warm-up phase, it really is dialing it in. It's all a boot, a kind of a boot up phase. And for me, a lot of times that was even when I started getting into the DE rounds, I would follow almost the same process. I would spend almost the first 20 seconds just moving with my opponent, not even trying to really hit them, but bringing my hand and tip into a position and relaxing and opening distance and being able to consistently bring that position back up right where I wanted to. And so I can summon the space and the distance and where my hand was each time. And then I can start to also kind of, again, create the environment to make my opponent start to give me certain reactions. And what I would find is that very quickly, I would then start reading their responses and they would get categorized very quickly. And then I knew exactly what I wanted to do. But I didn't I didn't try to pre-decide the whole bout ahead of time. I knew some ideas from watching them, but you never know what's going to happen in the live bout. So you need to have a way to kind of create an environment that you can then read the scenario. And I think it's kind of like an interesting scenario is when you talk about home court advantage, or in particular, like in a game like soccer or football, where you have a field, and sometimes you go to a part of the country where it snows, and some places it's where it's rainy, and sometimes it's really hot and dry. And some people hate playing in different stadiums because they don't like the humidity, or it's too cold, or it's too hot. And so what I like to think of it as kind of being the same thing. Like living in Oregon most of my life, I always think of it as like, oh, you know, if you're an Oregon football fan, the Oregon Ducks love to play in the rain because that's the stadium is outdoors and it's always raining in Oregon. So they're used to playing in the rain, and most people aren't. And so they don't so they're really good there. And you want to kind of think about what is your rain dance? What is your way of creating your home field advantage where you're comfortable and they're not? And if you can be the first one to start that, to make the home field advantage yours every single time, you're always putting yourself at an advantage, and you're probably creating an environment that you're good at and they're probably not as comfortable in it. But don't wait for them to do their Sundance and make you in an environment where maybe you can't see very well because you're not used to playing when it's really bright, for example, right? So you want to think about that. And that's, I think, one of the most important things in a champion is that they go out there and even subtly, they'll start influencing the field of play. And the next thing you know, everybody seems to fence them the same way. Even though when you watch them fence other people, they do very different skills. But in that environment, it always tends to kind of fall into these common things, which is by design.